slamming it down on the table. Welcome back to another Sunday Funday. If you're new to the channel or new to Sunday Funday videos, which you might be because this is only the second one that we've done, these videos are special because in these videos my lovely wife comes out and helps me in the shop and runs the camera for me, which she is doing right now.
Hello.
So today for Sunday Funday we are going to be taking a look at this VEVOR Magnetic Drill. I would just like to point out that my wife is currently standing on a ladder, taking camera duties very, very seriously, which I appreciate very much. How you're supposed to open this thing? Maybe like this. Jacob's chuck. So I'm a little bit surprised because these things normally come with a pack of angular cutters, which this one doesn't appear to have come with. So when we get to testing, we're just gonna have to use some drills. I guess I'll find the biggest drills that I have that will fit into this drill chuck. So we're just gonna have to test with regular drills, but not a big deal. So far, I don't know, this thing actually looks kind of sweet. It's got, this is, I'm guessing, a variable speed. So we will have to see. I guess, you know, the variable speed, my biggest question with this is how is the torque at the lower speed range? So when we get some bigger drills, we'll have to see how torque is at the lower speed ranges. But it's very cool that it has it. There is, of course, a Jacob's chuck, and this is an adapter for the Jacob's chuck. So it looks like this goes into the spindle, and this is your typical, what is it called? Welding. Sorry. So this goes into the spindle, and the spindle, it looks like just has a typical Weldon kind of shank that it takes, and then this is a threaded adapter to put the Jacob's chuck on there. And this is for coolant or oil, whatever you want to use. I think, going to use oil. I prefer oil for drilling, especially for something like this. And aside from that, we've just got some handles. So let's put this thing together and see how well it works. Here we go. Instructions. So here it is, fully assembled. Really not much to the assembly at all. We're going to plug it in just a second and go over sort of the basic functionality and everything. But before we do that, I do want to point out one thing, some initial thoughts, something that I noticed. This is the drill extended all the way to the top of its range of motion. You can see that you have very little distance, very little room here between the bottom of the Jacobs truck and the work surface. So you're really going to need to have some shorter length, maybe reduced shank drills, and you just really don't get a lot of room here. So that's just something to keep in mind, and something that I noticed immediately when looking for drills that we could use to do some testing on this thing. Alright, so we've got it plugged in. It's pretty simple how this thing works. There's a big on-off button. You click the on button and nothing happens at first. And once I click this magnet, it's going to engage the magnet and then automatically start the drill turning. The magnet is, it's pretty darn strong, and here is the variable speed for the drill. So it goes pretty fast, but let's drill some holes and see how well it works. I have this little 4-inch milling vise with this little swivel table thing. I'm not really doing anything with this, and I think it would be really cool to have this thing mounted on the bench to use for just general purpose, to have a vise with a nice flat bottom. I have this other really nice machinist's vise over here, but it doesn't really have a bottom, and sometimes it would be nice to just have a milling style vise so that I can sit things flat down in here. So I've been wanting to get this thing mounted to the table for a little while now. I just haven't gotten around to it because I haven't felt like, you know, drilling through this table with a hand drill, but now I have a magnetic drill. So the first thing we're going to do is drill a couple holes to get this vise mounted to the table. For that, I have this 9/16 drill. This is a nice USA made split point drill, so no pilots, nothing like that, and we'll see how well the magnetic drill handles it. Seeing all the run out in that drill? Alright, 3 things I need to address before we even attempt to drill this hole. First of all, I was completely wrong about how this thing works. So this is the switch for the magnet, and this is the switch for the drill. So I'm an idiot. You can absolutely control the magnet and the drill independently. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is did you see all of that run out in this drill? We're going to go ahead and drill this hole, but I do not feel awesome about it with that amount of run out. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. I am sure that it's in the chuck. You can see that it's in the chuck, and it's pretty bad. The third and final thing is, without angular cutters, the oil or coolant system is completely useless, because the way that this works is it's a gravity feed through this tube, and it goes into the spindle, which is hollow, and I guess it's supposed to just drip down through that hole. I don't know, but I'm assuming it's supposed to drip through the middle of the angular cutter, but as it stands with the drill and the drill chuck, the oil system is completely useless. So I am just going to use some of my cutting oil and just squirt it on here, and we'll see how it goes. So that honestly did not go as bad as I was afraid it would. And I had the speed setting on the drill turned down pretty low for that, and it seemed to do fine. I could definitely hear the motor, I don't know, take on a bit of a load as I got into the cut, but it didn't seem to mind it at all, and it went pretty smooth despite the run out. The last thing that I want to do is at least to try some bigger drills. This is a 51/64 drill, and this is a 5/8 of an inch thick piece of mystery steel. It's actually pretty tough stuff though. But I want to try some bigger drills, and this isn't a huge drill, 51/64, but it's, you know, well over a ½ inch. And this is really what you would want to use something like this for, is to drill holes in steel that you would normally want to use a drill press for, but for whatever reason can't, because it's something too big to get into the drill press or whatever. But that's really what these things are handy for. So I want to see how this handles some bigger drills, and we're going to start with 51/64 and 5/8 inch thick mystery steel. This is a 15/16 drill. We're going to give this a shot, but I'm a little dubious for two reasons. First is that run out. With that bigger drill size, it was really obvious in that cut, and I could tell that it was affecting the cut, and it was making me a little nervous. So I'm not sure how it's going to go with this one. And the second thing is the grind on this drill is awful. So we're going to give this a shot, we're going to see how it's going, but if I'm not liking the direction that it's going, I might abandon in the middle and just, you know, we'll go ahead and go to final thoughts. But we'll give this thing a shot and see how it does, and then we'll wrap up and I'll tell you my final thoughts on this thing.
Chips are hot, 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 hot.
Wow. The fact that this thing was able to make it through that cut is nothing short of impressive. When I say the grind on that drill was awful, I mean it was awful. I ground that drill and it was really, really bad. So the fact that this thing was able to power through that it's it's truly legitimately impressive. So I think that this drill is definitely capable of doing what I would want a drill like this to do, which would be to drill holes in things like my workbench or anything else that is going to be very, very difficult to do with a hand drill, but that I can't get into the drill press. I had the speed on the drill turned all the way down to the lowest setting. I did hear the motor take on a load a few times during the cut, but it wasn't an issue at all. It powered right through, and you know, quite honestly, despite the fact that that was a poorly ground drill, it went through rather smoothly. So very, very happy with that. So what are my overall initial impressions and final thoughts? Honestly, I think a bit incomplete. I'm a little disappointed that I wasn't able to try the angular cutters. This thing's really designed to use those angular cutters. And, you know, because I didn't have them, I couldn't use the oil/coolant system at all. And that's kind of a bummer because, you know, I filled this up and I was kind of excited about seeing how this was going to work and not having to shoot oil into the hole. And the fact that this system doesn't work at all with the Jacobs chuck is, you know, it's kind of a bummer. I think it's a little bit of a design oversight. I feel like they could have done something better, maybe with a drip system that you can position around the Jacobs chuck in the case that you are using it. Which I guess brings me to the Jacobs chuck, which is really, you know, I think the one really negative impression that I have. The run out in this thing is just unacceptable. It's awful. Trying to drill a hole with a cutting tool as big as the one that I just used with that kind of run out, it's just a recipe for more trouble than you really want. So that's something that is definitely going to have to be addressed. Maybe that can be addressed in a later video. But yeah, I think that's it. So a little bit incomplete, but very impressed with what I've seen so far. Definitely happy to have this tool in the shop. I have been looking at these drills for quite a while. It's not the kind of tool that you, or at least that I use very often, but when you need something like this, the difference between this and a hand drill is really the difference of taking 20 minutes to drill a hole and taking 2.5 minutes to drill a hole. That's really the difference. So very happy to have this tool in the shop, and I think that it's going to perform very well for the things that I want it to do. And I guess that's about it. That's really all that I have to say. There will be, I think, links in the description for this thing if you want to go check it out on the VEVOR website. That's totally up to you. So with that said, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you all again very, very soon in the next video.
Bye.